Welcome to the show. I'm Antisocial. And this is the Antisocial Network.
I want to talk to her, but my face is up against the wall. Yeah, I think she wants to talk to me, but I'm antisociable. Yeah. Antisociable.
This week, I sit down with Ryan McMichael on the app Stereo. We discuss cancel culture. Ryan gets riled up and tells us how it doesn't exist and that you're a whiny baby if you think it does. Stay tuned.
I'm antisociable, honey. Yeah.
Hey folks, this episode was cut and edited from another talk Ryan and I did about cocaine hippos. If you want to hear that episode, you'll have to subscribe to my Patreon. This conversation was recorded on the app Stereo, using only our phones, so sometimes the audio quality is not the best, but that's what happens when you do live shows. Download Stereo if you want to participate in live chats like the one you'll hear today. Now, on to the show.
Thank you again, everyone, for hanging out. We appreciate you. Sorry for the technical difficulties in the middle of the show. Hopefully, I'm not still swimming in a swimming pool with my audio right now. And thanks for hanging in there. We appreciate it.
Social, I looked you up in Alta Vista, and I have to say I'm impressed by what I found. Like, you have a really great profile on Alta Vista. Just, there's so much information about you, and it's just, you're doing all these really great things, and it's wonderful to read.
What the fuck is Alta Vista?
Well, it sounds like you're doing a great job on it. So
Is that real? Like,
I
Jimmy
hope
Jake,
so.
I don't understand what you mean by that. Like, I almost felt like scared for a second because I've been doxxed before and had people veil it in a way that they just casually like mention my address. So I was like, what the fuck is gonna come out of his, what is he talking about? And I'm like, I'm not doing anything that's that great. So I'm a little confused. Is he got me mixed up with someone else?
Maybe Alta
The fuck
Vista
is
is
Alta
like
Vista?
I think it's like Grindr, but for podcasters.
Is that true?
It's like, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. This episode brought to you by Grindr.
Don't get my
Grindr.com.
hopes up. You gotta fucking know I have an ego, man.
Ryan McMichael, I'm sure you're nice too. I'm sure you're nice, but I'm really more interested in Antisocial. Antisocial is like the best out there, but you're okay too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm loving these compliments. I'm totally going to put them in my podcast to make me look better, even though I have no idea what he's talking about. You guys who might send a message today, I will cut this down and turn it into a replayable 20-minute little pill of an episode on my podcast feed. If you go to my podcast, you'll see that I put one up with me and Ryan from last week, I believe, about Free Britney. So I'm going to do that with this one. And your memo might get featured if it's good enough. So.
Did you see the Woody Allen one? It's even crazier.
What Woody Allen one? My cat's freaking out. What Woody Allen one?
I don't know. One where he was a molester. I don't know. Maybe that one.
There was
maybe
a Woody Allen talk going on here that I was a little what the fuck about.
Oh my god. I feel like if anybody is curious as to whether or not cancel culture exists, I can just tell you Woody Allen. That's it. So the end of story.
Well, I don't know. The Sklar brothers were talking about whether they should separate the man from the art. And in my opinion, if two men as relevant as the Sklar brothers are even entertaining that conversation, is he really canceled?
Yeah, he's clearly not canceled. The cancel culture is not a thing, guys. The people that are abusers.
I thought you were saying it was a thing because.
No. It's not. It's clearly not a thing. It's clearly not. Like, people don't get fucking canceled. Everybody's got their pennies in a twist about cancel
Al
culture.
Franken? He got canceled.
I mean, did he though?
He lost his fucking job over a 20-year boob grab photo joke.
But hey, wait. Why are you getting on the other side of this? Why are you devil's advocating me on this? I'm doing the I. How are you hitting me from the right?
I'm not hitting you from the right. I'm just like, I actually have considered drafting. Like, it might be what my next episode that I write is about, is cancel culture. And Al Franken is one of like the major things I mention in it, because Democrats bring him up all the time about why cancel culture is bullshit, because the people who should be canceled never actually get canceled. And then someone like Al Franken gets canceled. And my argument is like, look, I loved Al Franken, but like, as a feminist point of view, like, I'm fine with Al Franken getting canceled, and I think he should have been canceled, as long as everyone else who should get canceled gets canceled too. So like, everyone, all these Democrats who keep bringing up Al Franken in defense of like cancel culture is a bad thing, um, I mean, I just think it's a bad fucking defense. Cause like, he shouldn't have fucking done that. And yeah, the whole like holding comedians to a different standard for jokes 20 years ago is bullshit. But like, I'm kind of fine with sacrificing Al Franken for the movement, and I think other people should get canceled too, like fucking Woody Allen. But I don't know. I'm just making the argument that it does exist because of people like what happened to Al Franken.
I think I'm making a blanket black and white statement to illustrate the point that, and you know this, but you know this infinitely better than I do, because these are talks that you do, and this is a world that you live in, because you're what that you experience as a woman more than I ever will. In that the amount of actual like sexual predation that happens, and that goes unreported, much less prosecuted or taken to court, or actual consequences resulting in, that number is like so small compared to the amount of fuss that we all talk about fucking cancel culture, right? Like think of the amount of, like, if you just look at the statistics of like the actual amount of sexual assault that happens versus the amount of rape kits that actually get taken care of versus the amount of rape kits that actually end up going to court versus the amount of convictions that actually come as a result, and less percent. Does that mean that none of those sexual assaults happen, the other 99%? No, it just means that those don't get treated seriously. And yet we all get stuck on talking about the dudes that get canceled, not the 99% of women that get sexually assaulted and never have justice. This is what I'm talking about. Why am I screaming? You're making me scream.
It's giving me a lot to think about for my cancel culture episode that I was on the fence about whether or not I was going to do. So
yeah, so here's the thing. I think what has happened is that we've got this buzzword cancel culture. And I know this is not what this talk is about, and then we're going to edit all this fucking shit out in post, but now that we're on it, I got to go. So I think what's happened is we've got this vocabulary phrase called cancel culture in our minds now. And really what happens is that doesn't happen very often. And when it does happen, I would argue, in the rare instances where people get quote unquote canceled, that those are just consequences for actions, period. Right. And that are those consequences severe sometimes? Yes. Are those consequences warranted? Yes. And more to the point, how many people get away with doing shit and never get any consequences? And why are we only talking about the cancel culture aspect of this and not the majority of the issue, which is the fact that men are sexually assaulting women on the regular and getting away with it constantly?
Okay, so when you think about cancel culture, you think about all of the fearful men who are now saying, as a result of the Me Too movement, oh my God, now I got to be scared that everybody I hit on a bar is going to accuse me of rape. But like, there's a lot more to cancel culture than just like men being accused of sexual assault. Like, you can get canceled for, saying the hard R word, or like women can get canceled for shit too. I mean, so cancel culture is not like an exclusive to like misogyny / sexual assault thing. But I totally see where you're coming from. But I also think like there's, that woman who just got fired from fucking Disney from The Mandalorian for saying stupid, fucking hateful, racist shit on her Twitter, whatever the fuck her name is. Like she got canceled. Like what about that? Shouldn't she have been fucking? But you're saying that's not cancel culture. That's just consequences for being a bad person.
I'd say what we've done is we've sort of misappropriated the term cancel culture, and I think what's happened is that the buzzword cancel culture, for me anyway, in my experience, came as a direct reaction to these misogynistic white men from the Me Too movement, right? That like people that look like me were going, I'm afraid to get canceled on the heels of the Me Too movement, right? And so I think that word for me is that's where that has kind of originated. And now it's gotten used more broadly. But ultimately what I'm saying is, yeah, you just said it. Like the woman who says racist shit on her Twitter and who gets fired from her job because her job says we don't want that kind of a person in our organization. That's not canceling that person. That is consequences for your actions and getting fired. That would be like saying like, dude, I stole from my employer and they fired me. That'd be like saying I stole from my employer and so they canceled me. It's cancel culture. No, you just got fired, right? Right. So like, this is what I'm saying. So like, there's two sort of arguments going on here. One is that I think that if we're defining cancel culture as what I originally thought it was, which is all these fragile ass men worried that they're going to get quote unquote canceled because the world's out to get them after the Me Too movement. There's that version of cancel culture. And I feel like we focus entirely on the conversation about cancel culture and not at all on the conversation about sexual assault and what a problem that is. That's conversation one. Conversation two is, I think that the vocabulary word cancel culture has gotten just used as a blanket statement to cover any sort of phenomenon that happens as a result of professional consequences when people act like fuckers, right? So like both things, I think
that's
both
fair.
In both cases, I feel like that the cancel culture is just widely misunderstood, talked about from an angle that's not helpful in either case, right? Because for me, it's like, if you really want to be an advocate to address the ideas of sexual violence and sexual assault, and if you want to have that conversation, why would you approach it even using the words cancel culture? That's not helpful. And on the other side of that coin, if you are really concerned about like this idea of like people getting fired for their public statements, or people being on the record now that social media is a thing and having professional consequences, that's not a conversation about cancel culture. That's a conversation about consequences and personal responsibility. And just like shit happens, cause and effect is not cancel culture. It's fucking cause and effect, right? So like, that's where I get my fucking panties in a twist. I feel like people are wrong twice, right? It's like cancel culture is bullshit, because when was the last time that like actual sexual assault people that we know that are on the record and famous actually, dude, Louis C.K. still pops into the fucking Comedy Store and like does sold out secret shows. Is he canceled? No. Is his bank account drained? No. Like even that guy who like, lost his show, his career trajectory is obviously different than it was 5 years ago. Obviously, right? The opportunities available to that guy much different than they were before all this shit happened, right? Even still, is he quote unquote is he dead? Is he gone? Is he irrelevant? No, like he's still making money. Like the corporations that he's got his name on, the licensing deals that he had before that, he's not dead and gone and canceled. He's just living with the consequences that happen as a result of being a fucking sexual predator, right? And like even still, he's still able to make money and have a living doing the shit that he did before. At a smaller scale, yeah. Like to smaller audiences, yeah. On the big screen, no. But is he canceled? No. I don't think it even exists. Like maybe Harvey Weinstein is maybe that guy's because he's the actual,
I mean, yeah, these are all fair points. I don't know. I gotta say, it definitely like reshapes the way I think about cancel culture, because while I was thinking like, yeah, cancel culture exists, I think that I was thinking what you said is basically like consequences for shitty behavior exists, but it doesn't mean that you're being targeted or unfairly maligned, or
right.
that you need to be on the lookout for, someone who's going to accuse you of some shit. Like, yeah. So I don't know. I think that's all valid. I'm going to edit this out of the Escobar talk, but I might put it in another talk now because they're all valid points.
Yeah, I think so. So for me, it's like I feel like what happens is it's just like a misnomer. Like I feel like, and I've already done this rant already, but just to like wrap this up and then move the fuck on. Like I feel like if people are talking about cancel culture in the sphere of like actual like sexual assault and the violence that happens, and the in sexual assault cases, I feel like you're just focusing on entirely the wrong part of the issue, right? Like to talk about that is doing such a disservice and is so insulting to the like millions of women who have undergone sexual violence with no justice, might have never even reported it because they know for a fact they're not going to be treated well by authorities, right? Like how many more sexual assault cases go totally unaddressed, much less prosecuted, much less result in someone getting quote unquote canceled than actual cancellations, right? So that I feel like is just fucking so unhelpful, and like and just shapes the conversation in a way that like really does sexual assault survivors like a total disservice, right? So there's that, and then the other side is that like I, people don't get canceled from their jobs, they get fired from their jobs. Like people don't get canceled from you don't get a cancellation when you're driving too fast on the road. You get a fucking speeding ticket, right? It's like I feel
Right.
like it's just using the word cancel culture to describe the natural consequences that come when you have to face the course of your actions, right? When personal responsibility comes knocking on your door, it's not cancel culture, it's just fucking cause and effect. And so like then all that does is muddy the waters further of the original conversation, which ultimately is supposed to be about like bringing light to sexual assault survivors. Again, it's just making the original thing even harder to fucking talk about. You're making the whole ball of wax worse when you misappropriate the word cancel culture when it's really just consequences. So like I think, and like again, I get what I look like, I know who I am, I'm a white man, and I understand that like I have to like I got to be careful about some of this stuff because like I know how it looks and I know what the optics are, but I also know that like it's you gotta fucking say something about it or else everyone's gonna keep talking about it the way they're talking about it, which is so unhelpful, right? And like and I don't know what else to do except scream at a stereo talk about it, and then
Well, I
hang
mean,
up and
congratulations, because you kind of changed my mind a little bit. That doesn't happen with antisocial very often, because fuck
uh-oh.
everyone else, and I don't want to hear it. But but uh yeah, I don't know. It did reframe the way I think about it a little bit. So
There is no such thing as cancellations, guys. Even the guy that you mentioned, the Frankit guy or whatever his name was, the politician that lost his gig. I mean, he's still a millionaire. So what did you cancel? Like he's still worth $50 million. Cancellations only last a week. People harass you on Twitter and Instagram, and then you'll be back to normal. That's why I tell people, don't worry. They'll all get over it eventually.
is Al Franken worth $50 million?
I don't. That's a number I'd have to double check. But I mean, he's
Yeah,
not.
I'm gonna look that up because that
He
seems pretty fucking high.
That's real high. But let's just say this: he's not hurting for cash, right? So like, but also here's the deal: not that I think that again, consequences are consequences, and we're gonna get stuck on this loop here again. So I'll shut up. But like, consequences are consequences, and so like, do I think that like I think the consequences need to be natural and in the natural extension of the action that they result from. So like I don't know, man. Like he lost his gig, right? Like he's still a millionaire, that's true, but he's lost his gig, he's lost his influence, and like he's lost respect within his party. And like he now is the like gets trotted out as the like consummate Democrat who got canceled, and so like he's dealing with that shit, right? So like, do I think
Arguably, I think we all lost too when Al Franken got canceled because he was a fucking powerful voice, I think. So, I
yeah,
mean, I hate to be that guy who's defending someone who got fucking canceled, but
yeah,
you know.
I think that I think that and my guess is that the next 5 comments are going to be about this and we'll just get stuck, so I'll shut up. But like I really just think that like people need to take an honest look at what it means when people have to face the consequences for their actions. I'm not talking about punitive shit. I'm not talking about retaliatory shit. I'm not talking about vengeful punishments. I'm talking about the natural consequences that come as a result of your actions and having to take responsibility for that and what that looks like for people. And like, I think that whole phenomenon gets incorrectly named cancel culture, which then muddies the fucking waters about what ultimately I think is a way more important conversation about us neglecting survivors of sexual assault. That's really what I think the problem is that like now we're stuck talking
100%.
about we're talking about Al Franken's net worth instead of the millions of women and men who get sexually assaulted and with no justice, right? That's the problem. Like, that's the nutshell right there, right? Like, why the fuck are we talking about Al Franken's net worth when ultimately the conversation surrounding cancel culture should point us all back to survivors of sexual assault and the justice that they need to have? Full stop. That's the elevator pitch for that rant. So I don't know.
100%. Got it.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
I agree with anti-social. Why? Because you're smart enough, you're blonde enough, and doggone it, Stereo likes you.
oh, my heart, my old Grinch heart just grew 3 sizes.
Pull quote from Too Much Posse. It's good work.
Idea of cancel culture, right? Like you have someone like Roman Polanski who, I mean, he's been on the run for statutory rape since like the 70s or 80s or some crazy nonsense. He still makes movies. I mean, maybe not like right this exact second, but like he made movies up until like 10 years ago. Right? This whole idea of like cancel culture, like I hear what you're both saying, but I think you're both kind of like talking past each other. It's that idea that like on one hand, like cancel culture is kind of a joke because like the people who should have been canceled a long time ago are still not canceled. And then other people, it's like, well, we have to make an example of them. So it's like this, crazy kind of like mockery, right? It's almost like a witch hunt theater, right? Like cancel culture theater versus actually helping to affect real change that actually benefits people and stops abuse and predation.
Yeah, that's well said. And also, by the way, I feel like he totally understands our brand of podcast. We just talk past each other. I feel like that's the whole.
Jimmy Jake's picking up what we're putting down. I mean, he's like our third co-host today.
Louis C.K. is a bad example. It wasn't exactly a rape. I'm not saying he's okay, but I think it's a bad example.
Well, what Al Franken did wasn't even as bad as what Louis C.K. did. He didn't even touch her, and she was. I mean, well, okay, that's probably bad to say because I'm not the victim in either circumstance, and I don't want to compare trauma. But he took a picture, mocking touching a woman, and as far as I know, she was asleep when this picture was taken, and Louis C.K. exposed himself without consent to people in a situation where he had power and they were alone in a room together. Also, Al Franken was like a known fucking comic. He was on a fucking what are those tours called when you go do comedy for fucking troops?
USO.
He was on a USO tour. Not excusing any of it, but I'm just saying you don't have to rape someone to get canceled.
Right.
I mean, Woody Allen didn't arguably rape anyone either. He just married his daughter consensually.
Oh my God, so brutal, dude. I can't. If you here's how you know you're in deep shit. If part of your legacy is Ronan Farrow, who comes back after you as a professional fucking investigative journalist, that's when you know you really fucked up.
Yeah.
When you helped create, when you basically are the origin story for Ronan Farrow, you fucked up, dude. Like you really fucked up.
Oh, God.
Pretty good.
Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Moi, ça va très bien.
I'm doing well. My name is Ryan. This is Antisocial. My French is limited to every. You just
I
exhausted
haven't
my
even
French.
gotten past fucking stage 1 on French Duolingo. Sorry.
Yeah, your 12-second comment exhausted my French, but I'm doing well, thank you. And this is Antisocial, and my name is Ryan. So thank you for stopping me.
I imagine someone getting canceled. Not canceled. going to prison for vehicular manslaughter and using the word canceled would be quite funny.
Well, yeah, if you know, that reminds me, Kyle Rittenhouse hasn't been fucking canceled. He's out there fucking having beers and shit. So, you know,
Merch.
where's
He's got a merch line.
You know,
It
that got
got
shut
yanked.
down.
Yeah, it got yanked.
Fortunately, but that was horrendous.
Yeah, it's pretty serious. Yeah, I like that. I like that. You're in the lockup. You're on cell block E, and the guy next to you is like, "Hey, what are you in for?" And you're like, "I got canceled."
But speaking of, you know, Matthew Broderick killed someone with his car, and he didn't get canceled.
Is that true?
Yeah, he killed someone with his car, manslaughter, like on vacation in, I want to say like Nova Scotia, like in the 80s or the 90s, like years,
Okay.
like, you know, before he was doing like Election and all of the fucking movies, he had already killed someone. You know, so has Laura Bush and Brandy, for that matter. Like singer Brandy killed someone with her car too. I don't know why I know this, but I think of it every time I hear Matthew Broderick. Killed someone with his car on vacation.
There you go.
You'll be murdered by midnight.
Oh, fuck you.
Ooh, there's that hot fire. There's that firebrand level of hospitality we've come to expect from
Antisocial. Take it or leave it. Fuck you or welcome, depending.
It's my favorite. You know what my favorite part about that is that the comma at the end of that is doing so much heavy lifting. It's so fucking funny. Written down, fuck you or depending, or welcome or fuck you, comma depending. Written is hilarious. I think it's so.
That was my blog headline from like 12 to 15 years ago. That's been my tagline forever.
Good.
I'm glad you think it's good, because so do
I.
I.
It is very good. The comma,
welcome or fuck you, depending.
Yeah, the comma is doing so much fucking funny work in that sense. I think it's so funny.
Brett Favre killed nobody with his car and almost got canceled.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Football?
Oh, talking about Laura Bush and Brandy, I'm just gonna say Margaret Thatcher. Yeah, she's like pretty much she's like the super Beyonce, if you know what I mean. And I'm not saying that in an anti-feminist way. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
Wait a minute.
Margaret Thatcher is like the super Beyonce. Did Margaret Thatcher kill someone with her car? Did Beyonce kill someone with her car? What?
Breaking news? I don't know. Post Void, you gonna fill us in?
What is going on?
I don't know anymore. I have no idea.
Yeah, we've lost. I've let go of the reins.
It's totally gone off the rails.
The horse is gonna run off the cliff here in a minute. Don't worry.
Yeah, edit that out. Okay? Edit that out. There's a knock at the door. Edit it out.
Cool. Hey man, it was fun. It's always fun. Call me anytime, and then leave me lots of voice memos in my regular DMs about what happens in your life and people that cut you off and road rage incidents or what you're having for dinner. I will field any of those DMs from you and voice
or
memos.
all the dudes that I match with and then think aren't fucking worthy on Tinder.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that was for sure.
So, listeners, Ryan's going live again in 25 minutes with Hez Griffin. I don't think we're going to get to all our memos because we want to give Ryan a minute to fucking have some downtime and rest and like poop and eat his lunch. So,
in that order, by the way.
So, sorry.
Like the hippos do. That's what we're.
Yeah, exactly. Right into your water, your bath water. So, listeners, if you didn't get to leave a memo, I'm sorry, and I'm sad about it. Please send me memos to my Anchor, where my podcast lives, and tune in 25 minutes to listen to Ryan and send him memos right away when his room is empty, and then you can get in line first.
Yay! Hey, I love you. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, have a good afternoon. I will come visit your room in 30 minutes.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
That's my show. I'm Antisocial, and this is the Antisocial Network. Today's guest was Ryan McMichael. Find him and myself on Instagram, and catch us both on the app Stereo. If you like my podcast, please rate and review me on iTunes. If you want even more access to me, Antisocial, subscribe to my Patreon at patreon.com/theantisocialnetwork to receive 2 bonus episodes a month. And remember, I'm still taking submissions for funny fake ads that I can run on my show. To enter your own funny fake ad, submit clips up to 1 minute long in the Anchor app, or find the link in my show notes. See you next Wednesday. Later.
Sociable, yeah.